Funky.
Hey everybody, welcome back behind the bar. Guess who's back? Back again. Sap is back. Tell a friend. For those of you that don't know, Sap by Tree House. Such a pretty label. Pretty with the pine needles. Sap is an American IPA, 7.3% alcohol by volume. This is the second time they've brewed this beer. I was lucky enough to have it last time they brewed it. For those IPA drinkers out there that like their IPAs to be piney and dank and all that, this is the beer for you. This is their version of that type of IPA instead of their juice bombs with Julius and Juice Machine, which is, I mean, there's some pininess to like that and green and things like that. But this, I remember being like very pine forward, very dank. But like I said, this is the second batch, so they tend to change their beers change typically from batch to batch a little bit, especially first and second releases. So, I mean, Juice Machine was a completely different beer basically from the first time they viewed. I keep pointing over there because the Juice Machine can from that review I did a few days ago is over there. But this one, guy can smell it from here. Pours out Treehouse Haze for days. It's kind of a bright yellow, bright orange mix haze. Can't see anything through it. About a finger ahead. Lacing on the glass already. The Treehouse Tiku. Big soapy bubbles. I mean, it's a great, typical Treehouse looking beer. So, with that said, let's see what it smells like. Oh yeah, that's different. It's not that fruit bomb that jumps out of the glass like most of your Treehouse beers, which, you know, I love. But this is, I mean, amazing in its own right. This is dankness, pininess, and then just, it kind of rolls into like pineapple, papaya, mango maybe. Yeah, just smells, oh, it smells delicious. It's no maltiness to speak of. It's, like I said, you get the pine from this, like a floral note to it. And then it kind of rolls into like pineapple, orange, I'm trying to get it. Maybe like some papaya. Peaches maybe, like really overripe peaches. Just a killer smelling beer. Yeah, this smells awesome. With that said, let's dig in, see what she tastes like. As always, with anything Treehouse that I drink, a big thank you to my buddy Leo. Wouldn't be drinking it without you, buddy. I really appreciate it. So, cheers. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So right away, Treehouse mouthfeel, medium to, I mean, just borderline on creamy. Not quite to the level of like green, but right there. That good thickness, good carbonation, good effervescence. You get that juicy fruit yeast profile throughout. Way in the background, but it's definitely there. If you drink a lot of Treehouse beer, every time you get it with pretty much every beer they make. And actually, the sweetness of this beer reminds me a lot of Julius. Just kind of like the sweetness from the malts, and just kind of that front end like orange, grapefruit, pineapple, like mango, just right up front, and then it goes into this bitterness, pininess, dankness. That's what's staying on my tongue. It dries it out, but it just leaves this floral bitterness. That's really good. Kind of almost West Coast-ish. Not as forward, not as bitter as West Coast beers, but almost just slightly muted, but just really balanced, really creamy, just killer. This reminds me, with a little bit more pine. Nah, that's a bad comparison. I don't think it does. I was gonna say Kern Citra, double Citra, but it's not quite to that level. Because that was kind of a juice bomb. This isn't as juicy. This, I'm getting pineapple, I'm getting orange. But it's primarily, it's a bitter, there's a bitterness to it. More so, I would assume, I don't know for sure, that there's more bittering hops in this, something for full boil, or even some additions mid-boil, whereas a lot of their beers, most of the hop additions are going to be in the whirlpool or in a dry hop scenario, which are just adding to aroma and flavor, whereas the bitterness and the IBUs from this seem to be a little higher. I could be completely wrong, but in my experience as a home brewer and struggling to get a brewery open brewer, that's what I'm definitely getting from this. Killer beer. For what they're trying to do with this beer, it's exactly what you want. Going into this, you see the label, you see the spruce. I'm assuming a spruce. When you see that and you hear the name sap, and you just think pine, just spruce, you know, just the oozing of the sap from those trees. We had a bunch of them where I grew up, and I just see the sap oozing down the sides. And this is exactly what you think when you think of a beer that's the classic IPA. I mean, that's what getting into beer, how old am I now? 10 years ago. And when I started getting into hoppy beers and got into the Sierra Nevada Torpedoes and, you know, Bell's Two Hearted, and even like locally, Boulevard's Pale Ale was a really bitter hoppy pale ale. Beers like that are, you know, that have the pininess, but then take the Tree House twist on it, and that's exactly what you've got here. You get that creaminess, you get some fruit, you know, from the hoppiness as well, and you just get the completely balanced malt bill. The grist of this beer is just, it just brings, as I always say, the table for what they're trying to do. It's definitely there. You can taste more breadiness in this beer, a little bit more of the malts, but I think that's just because of the bitterness and what I'm picking up from that. Killer beer, amazing beer, amazing beer. This is, I mean, when I'm in the mood for a piney IPA or a bitter IPA, this is what I want. I mean, this is what I will drink. When was this canned? 12/29, so we're pretty fresh. We're about a week out on this, so we're about as fresh as you get. I actually would like to see how this ages too. It might become a more fruit-forward IPA, you know, similar to the other ones, as maybe some of the bitterness dies off. But who knows? Killer beer from Tree House. As far as a grade, I struggle with it. It's like, it's not 100. It's not 100. It's probably not even 99. Probably in the 97 range is where I would go with this, 97, 98. I mean, I get how a lot of people might go crazy over this and give it 100, but for me, it's like an A, upper AA minus beer, 96, 97. So that's all. I'll drink a little bit more of it and see where I land, if it's a 96 or a 97, but ridiculous beer. Just ridiculous. I mean, the worst grade probably I've ever given a true Tree House, just straight IPA, probably, is an A+. So like a lower A+, you know. That's what we're dealing with here, the tip of the sword. So we'll leave it there, guys. Leo, thanks again, buddy, for the sap, and really just planning a trip to go see Leo and actually go to Tree House. I've actually reached out to them to see if they would care if I took a camera, and I feel it would be fitting if I filmed a review on site there. So we'll see what happens with that. But that's something I'm hoping for, maybe. But we'll see. But with that said, I'm going to leave it right there, guys. Thanks for coming behind the bar. Thanks for watching my thoughts on SAP. Thanks for the likes, subscribes, and comments. And until next time, guys. Cheers.